All right, Bears fans, welcome back. Bear Down. This is one that I'm really excited to bring to you guys. It's one that I've had in concept for a little while, but I just haven't had the time to put the pen to paper. This is one of the old school Adam type of videos where it brings out the statistics you actually have to do the math on, have to break it all down and compile it together on my Excel spreadsheets. The old school stuff that I've always done. Just haven't had as much time for that stuff lately. And this is one that just kept picking at my brain when you see all the stats on ESPN and you see on Speak and all the different networks where the Bears defense was elite the second half of the year. And it got me thinking over and over and over again how we had a second-year player in Kyler Gordon. We had Jaylon Johnson that obviously was at the top of the league. In fact, PFF had him graded as the number one cornerback in the league. And then you had two rookies. You had Tyrique Stevenson and you had Terell Smith with a second-year player, Kyler Gordon. But they played so well the second half of the year. In fact, led the league in takeaways, led the league in points against, led the league in several categories. I don't know if any of you have seen those stats that have come across ESPN, but the Bears were number one in the league in most categories down the stretch of the year. So it got me thinking that rookie transition, because cornerback is one of the hardest positions to get right in the NFL. And we know Matt Eberflus loves his cornerbacks. In fact, when you look at the top 30 list, there's cornerbacks on there right now. And we don't need any cornerbacks. We're pretty stacked. In fact, here's the team as it stands right now. We've got Kyler Gordon as our slot, Tyrique Stevenson, Jaylon Johnson. This is not updated. This is from before. He's obviously signed his 4-year extension, so we're solid there. Don't worry about that. Terell Smith and Jaylon Jones. So we've got a really stacked cornerback room, especially when you look at how they did. So it got me thinking, well, I know he didn't grade out the best. In fact, here's the grade outs. Jaylon Johnson, first ranked of all cornerbacks on PFF's grades. Okay. Solo missed tackles, passer rating when allowed. So the quarterback pass rating allowed against this cornerback. PFF grade, how they did. But as a whole, I know Tyreek Stevenson did better the second half of the year. And I was a little bit hard on Terell Smith, but as I've broken this down, you guys got to look at this. So here's the top 10 PFF ranked cornerbacks in the league. So Jaylon Johnson was ranked first, and you see all the way down to 10. So Jaylon Johnson, Deron Bland, Sauce Gardner, Trent McDuffie, Javarius Ward, Devin Witherspoon, a rookie, all the way down there to number 10. And you look at their stats. Interceptions to forced fumbles the second half of the season. Missed tackle percentage the second half of the season. And Jaylon Johnson struggled a little with tackles going down the stretch. I don't know if there's a big reason for that. It just sometimes it works out their way. But passer rating allowed 23.7. So this is weeks 10 on. So week 1 through 9, week 10 through 18. Split in half, exactly down half of the season. Receiving percentage against 55%. Sauce Gardner's always been a beast with that. And then their ranking. So this is where they stand. So I got thinking, okay, where does Tyreek Stevenson sit? And then even Terell Smith, who I hadn't looked at his advanced metrics as much. Well, here's Tyreek Stevenson. And it actually blew me away when I look at the numbers. So here's his full season. 4 interceptions, 1 forced fumble, 10.1% missed tackle percentage, 100.4% or 100.4 passer rating allowed against him. So a quarterback throws 100.4 passer rating against him. And 66% of targets against him were receptions. All right. The second half of the season, every one of his takeaways happened in the second half of the season. 4 interceptions, 1 forced fumble. Missed tackle percentage, that's just a variance level. I mean, there's no change there. Nothing really changed. 1.3% is not a big difference. But passer rating against him allowed, 55.7. That is among the very best in the NFL. Receiving percent, 52%. Think about that in perspective of a quarterback's completion percentage. You want your quarterback to be 65, 66, 70%. I mean, you're good quarterbacks. You want to be right up there. Well, there's Tyreek Stevenson the second half of the season, 52%. Well, how does that stack out? Let's compare him against other rookies, because other rookies are going through the same thing. They have to adjust to the NFL. Let's see how their second half of the season went, because this is really, once they've adjusted, Once they've adapted to the NFL, how are they playing down the stretch? And here's all the top-rated rookies. These are the top 8, in no particular order, mind you, top 8 rated rookies with a PFF grade above 60. All right, so the most elite ones as rookies. And look at this list. Tyrique Stevenson down the stretch had 5 takeaways. Nobody else had more than 3. Brian Branch, who everyone considers to be one of the most elite rookies out of this class, had 3. His missed tackle percentage, 12.8. Tyrique Stevenson's, 11.4. Passer rating allowed, 74.9. Tyrique Stevenson, 55.7. Receiving percentage against, 58%. Tyrique Stevenson, 52%. In fact, I boxed those up because he was the best in both of those categories against every single rookie in this class. It's not being talked about. Why? Because his first half of the season was so bad. I shouldn't even say bad. It just wasn't as good. His first half of the season was a rookie type of first half of the season. So he ranked overall for the season 80 out of 118 cornerbacks. Out of everyone, not just rookies, out of all cornerbacks, 80 out of 118. If you take that second half of the season, he would be in the top 10 in the entire league. So let's add him in. Let's add him into those top 10 cornerbacks in the league and look how he stacks up. This is organized by takeaways, but you can see the different categories. And I highlighted the 2 Bears ones in there. Tyrique Stevenson, 5 takeaways. Deron Bland had 5. Derek Stingley had 5. Christian Benford had 4. Travarius Ward, 3. Jaylon Johnson, 2. On and on and on. Missed tackle percentage, 11.4. Passer rating allowed. Jaylon Johnson, 23.7. You can see Sauce Gardner, 47.5. But then next, Tyrique Stevenson, 55.7. Receiving percentage against Sauce Gardner, 36. Isaac Yiadom, 46%. But then Travarius Ward, 50. Tyrique Stevenson, 52. Derek Stingley, 54. Jaylon Johnson, 55. Guys, he's playing at a Pro Bowl caliber level to end the year. And you know the Bears see this. You know they know it. This isn't being talked about on ESPN. This isn't being talked about anywhere. You see a little buzz for him, especially at the end of the year when he had so many interceptions and takeaways. But he's not being talked about yet. He's going to be. Tyrique Stevenson has arrived. This second half of the season shows you the level he was playing at, and he is a high caliber cornerback in this league. He's right up there with Jaylon Johnson. Look at those numbers. Passer rating allowed, not quite up to snuff, but nobody's up to snuff with Jaylon Johnson with passer rating allowed. Nobody. All those rookies, we gave up Joey Porter Jr. for Chase Claypool. Yeah, that stinks, but look what we snagged late in the second round. Tyrique Stevenson. Woo. This Bears cornerback room is absolutely stacked. And then look at Terell Smith in there. I overlooked him a little bit, but look at this. Passer rating allowed the second half of the season, 86.1. It's not shabby. It's not Tyrique Stevenson, but it's not shabby at all. Receiving percentage, 70% or 62%. Needs to come down a little bit more, but it's better than league average. And 7.1% missed tackle. He was always a good tackler. So we even have a solid backup cornerback. We are loaded, guys. I'm really excited. When you look at stuff like this and you pull these stats out and you see just how well he did compared to other rookies down the stretch and compared to the best cornerbacks in the league down the stretch, we're in some excitement. We have a lot to be excited about on this defense. I am so stoked to watch him in his second year because players continue to develop. They continue to take that leap. And if he does so, he's going to be among the best in the entire league. I am absolutely stoked. All right, let me know your thoughts in the comment. Let me know what you guys think about Tyrique Stevenson. He's become one of my favorite players. With that, bear down.